The world is a tapestry of wonder, woven with threads of mystery and enlightenment. As we embark on this journey of understanding, let us open our minds to the profound wisdom that surrounds us, hidden in plain sight. I'm Mark Roach. Welcome to Transcendent, my platform from perspective formed from a journey around the world through life, crossing a wide spectrum of human experience from high to low, as most people in American society define them. This channel is all about inspiring common people to find their power and place their uniqueness in their lives. Much of the research and understandings I've come upon in my journey involve biblical scripture, as well as scientists, mystics, philosophers, and exceptional people like Carl Jung, Wim Hof, Alan Watts, Maurice Nicoll, G.I. Gurdjieff, Peter Ouspensky, Rudolf Steiner, and many others. Much of their work is not relatable today, but it is highly relevant. I've been updating it and sharing it here, hopefully to ease the way for others who also deal with complex PTSD or have a calling to pursue their uniqueness or have a friend or loved one in such a place. Some of my work feels original here, but these individuals deserve much of the credit. This video examines work by Rudolf Steiner. Today we delve into the profound concepts of spirit and soul, as explored by the visionary thinker Rudolf Steiner. These ideas often are misunderstood in our modern world, but they hold a key to unlocking some deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe around us. Steiner's perspective on the spirit and soul differs significantly from our common understanding. When we hear the word spirit, we might think of intellect or mind. However, Steiner's concept goes far beyond these limited definitions. He emphasizes that spirit is not to be confused with the mystical or superstitious notions often associated with fringe movements. Instead, it represents something concrete and real, though not directly perceptible to our ordinary senses. To grasp Steiner's ideas, we must first observe the manifestations of life in young children. In these early years, before the change of teeth, we witness the purest expression of spirit and soul. Spiritual forces and soul essences actively shape the child's brain and entire organism. While we can't directly see these forces, we can observe their effects in the child's nature and development. Steiner draws an intriguing parallel between language and the concepts of soul and spirit. He suggests that speech, like consonants, represent the spirit, while vowels embody the soul. When a child says mama, for instance, the M sound expresses what a child wants the mother to do, while the A sound reveals the child's feeling towards the mother. This simple word contains the entire relationship between child and mother in both spirit and soul. In our modern world, we often perceive spirit only as a reflection in our intellect, our mind, or our reason. We're closer to experiencing soul, but even then, we only perceive its expressions, not its full interactivity. Our feelings, our likes, dislikes, our desires, and passions all belong to the soul. Yet we don't directly perceive the soul's nature within us. Steiner uses a powerful analogy to explain this concept. When we walk on soft ground, we leave footprints. Someone discovering these footprints wouldn't say that forces in the earth shape them, but would correctly deduce that someone had walked there. Similarly, our soul leaves impressions in our body, which we then perceive as sensations or passions or sympathies. The soul itself remains hidden, but we experience its effects. To further clarify these concepts, Steiner takes us on a historical journey exploring how ancient cultures sought to reach spirit and soul. In ancient India, for example, practitioners used yoga to connect with the spiritual realm. Through controlled breathing exercises, yogis became conscious of the breathing process and experienced how breath unites with thought in the brain. They felt thought pulsing through their body, carried on the tide of breath. This ancient method allowed yogis to experience spirit as something active and creative rather than passive and abstract. However, Steiner emphasizes that we can't and shouldn't try to replicate these ancient practices in our modern world. Our human progress is based on the fact that we've liberated thought and made it more intellectual than it was at the time of yoga. Instead, Steiner proposes a new path for modern humans to connect with spirit and soul. We must first experience the world of appearances, the unreal image of things that we perceive through mere intellectualism. This might seem insignificant, but it's a profound inner experience. When we realize that all intellectual thinking is just an image, unreal and remote from true reality, we experience a kind of fainting in our soul. This realization marks the beginning of true knowledge. It's not about saying I think, therefore I can reflect on all things, but rather acknowledging, although that I think about everything with my image thinking, I am only a weak, impotent being. From this point of humility, we can begin to move outward, looking at every flower, animal, and human being with new eyes. Steiner encourages us to participate in the process of the natural world, to sink into a plant and feel the gravity pulling its roots down and the formative forces unfolding above. By diving into the external world, just in this way, we awaken as if we were in a trance and we no longer receive abstract thoughts, but imaginations, vivid pictures that connect us more deeply with reality. This approach to understanding the world is fundamentally different from our usual logic, our abstract thinking. Steiner suggests that if the world is a work of art, we must understand it artistically, not just logically. Logic becomes a tool for discipline, but not the primary means of comprehension. By embracing this more soulfully in a spiritual way of engaging with reality, we can begin to sense how the Spirit works creatively within us. This understanding is crucial for those working with children, especially teachers. Steiner emphasizes that it's not the intellect or mind that's active in a small child, but something far more creative and spiritual. However, Steiner doesn't expect everyone to develop higher spiritual knowledge. He believes that sound judgment and observation are sufficient for most people to recognize and work with these spiritual truths. Just as we can understand and discuss astronomical phenomenon like the transit of Venus without personally observing them, we can work with these spiritual concepts based on the observations and insights of those who have developed higher perception. Steiner provides a practical example of how to apply these spiritual insights in teaching. When explaining the concept of immortality to a child, he suggests using the image of a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. This natural process serves as a tangible metaphor for the soul leaving the body after death. The effectiveness of this approach, Steiner notes, depends not only on the cleverness of the teacher, but on their belief in the image itself. A teacher who sees the butterfly's metamorphosis as a divine gift placed in nature to help us understand immortality will be far more effective than one who merely invents a clever analogy. This distinction highlights the difference between intellect and spirit in action. A teacher who believes in the spiritual reality behind their teachings works with an active spirit, creating a genuine connection with the child. On the other hand, a teacher who relies solely on intellectual cleverness remains outside reality, working only with a passive mirror images. Steiner's insights remind us that true education and personal growth involve more than just accumulating information or honing our intellectual skills. They require us to engage with the world in a more holistic, spiritual way, recognizing the hidden depths of reality in our own inner nature. As we conclude this exploration of Steiner's ideas, let's remember that the path to spiritual understanding is a gradual one. We must first experience the limitations of pure intellectualism before we can enter into a more spiritual way of knowing. This journey requires patience, openness, and a willingness to see the world with new eyes. By embracing these concepts, we open ourselves to a richer, more meaningful engagement with life. We begin to see the spirit and soul at work, not just in ourselves, but in every aspect of the world around us. This perspective can transform our relationships, our work, our understanding, our place in the universe. As we move forward, let's carry these insights with us, allowing them to inform our interactions with others, especially children. Let's approach the world with a sense of wonder and reverence, recognizing the spiritual forces at play in every moment. In doing so, we may find ourselves awakening to a deeper, more fulfilling way of being in the world. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.